Many here in Malaysia are waiting with bated breath as they anticipate the expected arrival of US President Donald Trump first thing tomorrow morning. He arrives for this year's ASEAN summit on somewhat shaky ground after levelling enormous tariffs on the region. It's his first visit to Southeast Asia since the so-called Liberation Day tariffs, but also many here disagree with US President Donald Trump's position on, say, the war in Gaza and his support for Israel. It certainly means that he arrives on quite uncertain terms. US President Donald Trump's protectionist agenda is having an enormous impact here on Southeast Asia, with largely export-oriented economies. Leading economists and negotiators we've spoken to say there's a lot at stake leading into these talks. And without collective action against these tariffs, and if economies and Southeast Asian economies and their trading partners aren't able to organise a response, there will likely be a contraction in GDP, which would have flow-on effects to manufacturers, to employees, to really, of course, harm these economies. But US President Donald Trump will instead be focused on a ceasefire signing and peace deal between Thailand and Cambodia as the US President furthers his agenda to build his reputation as somewhat of a peacemaker. Dozens were killed and hundreds of thousands were displaced in the violent border clashes between Thailand and Cambodia. A ceasefire was agreed to earlier this year, but this signing on Sunday would mark a broader ceasefire. Now, there's been a lot of anger and protest over US President Donald Trump's expected visit to Malaysia. There were even protests on Friday outside the US Embassy. Many Malaysians are furious over the invitation, and there's a lot of sensitivity over his visit, particularly in Muslim-majority Indonesia and Malaysia, over Donald Trump's support of Israel during the war in Gaza. This year's ASEAN summit runs from Sunday through to Tuesday, when foreign leaders are expected to travel to South Korea for this year's APEC.